This is the online financial school. We continue skills development on a cost-effective platform. This lecture is part of the series of life insurance lectures where we deliver various topics on life insurance. This particular lecture number 10, is on underwriting, life insurance underwriting, which is the process of accepting a risk onto the books of a life insurance company, getting healthy lives onto the books, trying to make sure that you don't accept risks that are excessive. So, what is underwriting? The broad answer is that underwriting is the process of risk selection, choosing who to cover. You are matching cover with risk and setting the premium, and that job is done by an underwriter. There are different levels of underwriting, so you can underwrite at one level by setting a target population that you are going to sell policies to. The next level is to financially underwrite, in other words, to decide what level of premium they can afford, what characteristics, financial characteristics the policies will show. The third level of underwriting that you could consider is medical underwriting, which means that you actually go through a medical process of selection. And the fourth is claim underwriting. We probably won't talk much about claim underwriting in this lecture. But let's start off with the target population. If you are looking to underwrite and you have a target population, the target population, you want to classify it by the type of earnings, their lifestyle, the environment, what kind of pursuits they go through in life, and based on your key risk drivers, you can then decide what kind of policies to sell to them. So that's one level of underwriting. By choosing a target population to sell policies to, you have already decided what kind of risks you are going to see on your books. So it is very, very important that you are clear about that. Then we go to financial underwriting, which is the process of checking whether people can afford insurance, what kind of insurance needs are there in the market, how do you position those needs so that people are receptive to them, and what kind of products would meet those needs. So you can't just take any product and sell it anyway. It doesn't work. The next stage of underwriting is then to decide on what is called medical underwriting, which is a process of underwriting which is done to make sure that the risks that are accepted by an insurance company are reasonable and the insurance company can afford them. So you underwrite in order to determine this level of risk that you are taking onto your books. You want to counter anti-selection to make sure that everybody that comes onto your books is not trying to pull a fast one on you. So you set up a process of risk acceptance, especially for protection policies. There are three levels of medical underwriting, and depending on the level of cover and whether further underwriting is required. So you have a medical declaration, which is just answering questions orally in writing to say what is your medical history, and so forth. There is also medical examination. We'll go into that in a minute. And then there is specialist tests that you can go through to determine whether you are healthy. So at those three levels, you start off at level 1, the medical declaration. If there are some question marks, you may be taken to level 2. If there are question marks, you may be taken to level 3. But also realize that for certain levels of cover, you can't escape underwriting. So the medical declaration asks when you were last sick. It checks what symptoms you have had over the last few years. It also checks your lifestyle to make sure that you are not a bad risk to take on the books. So the idea there is to eliminate at least, the obvious. It's not a very strict form of underwriting, so a lot of risks do slip through and you may not catch them. So if there is any suspicion that the risk that you are taking is a lot more, you may require more than just a medical declaration. So we go to the next stage, which is the medical examination. So after your declaration has indicated that you are not a very good risk, or maybe you are taking such a big sum assured that we can't take chances, you are then taken to the next level of risk, which is to examine your general health status. So it's a medical examination. We are really checking your general health status, and what we would like to establish is, well, in the normal course of events, are you reasonably healthy? In the normal course of events, are you at reasonable risk? This takes the form of a general medical. It could be a urine test. It could be blood pressure test. It could be a pulse rate. But it doesn't really get that complicated. Remember as well that you have to balance the cost of underwriting with the benefits of it. So at this level, if the cover is not too much, you don't want to waste too much time and incur too much in expenses. But if the cover is bigger, or you have picked up something at the level of the medical, you can decide to take things a bit further. So for big covers, you would be looking for a blood test. Now there are several blood tests that can be done: prostate test, liver function test, quite a number of blood tests that can be done on you. You can also look at an electrocardiogram, ECG, and you can also look at a chest x-ray to check for TB, and so forth. So all those tests will be done, and the question then follows: what then do you do with that information? Well, you can follow up the information and either accept the risk on normal terms, or you can accept the risk on extra terms. So you can ask for an extra premium, you can ask for certain other conditions, or include an exclusion, or you can reject the risk outright. So in many ways, the reason why you are underwriting is because you are saying, is this risk commensurate with the premium that I'm charging for it? And if you feel it's not, then you load the premium. If you still feel it's not, then you put exclusions. If you still feel it's not, then you reject the risk. Now, we come to the issue of formulating an insurance company's underwriting policy. Every insurance company has got an underwriting policy. So they have to decide exactly how they are going to decide how to underwrite, what to do when a risk turns up at their door. So you look at the population that you are going to insure. It is very important that you understand. And you look at the general risks that persist in that population. And you try to firstly have a first line of defense, which is just to choose the right people onto your books. There are underwriting costs, and you have to weigh those costs versus the benefits of underwriting. You want to, as an insurance company, to weigh benefits versus costs. Underwriting should improve your bottom line, not reduce it. So your bottom line is you want to have a policy that supports your bottom line. You also look at what the competition is doing. Then you position yourself in terms of risk to say, this is the kind of insurance company where I am as an insurance company. This is where I play. This is my risk matrix. Now, you also look at the types of products versus the level of risk that they take. So for the most part, protection products, you want to make sure that you underwrite to ensure that you don't take risks that are not commensurate with your premium. You rarely underwrite savings product other than financial underwriting, because people rarely make money by taking savings policies. So you look at the type of population that you sell to, and then you look at the risk of anti-selection, unhealthy lives coming onto your books and getting on board, healthy lives surrendering. That's a risk. You look at the competition, because if the competition can offer a smaller premium than yourself, if the competition can come to somebody who is on your books and say to them, look, come to me, I'll give you a cheaper premium, then you are in trouble. So you need to look at competition. So for that, you are looking at